What was the Buddha's last teaching? Once, when the Buddha was ailing in Baluva, amidst the distress and sorrow of Ananda, DN 26, and again, upon hearing of Venerable Sariputta's passing and Ananda's ensuing grief, SN 47.13, the Buddha delivered these teachings. They encapsulated his entire practice in a succinct form and served as a final testament from the Master aware of his impending demise. He encouraged and advised his disciples on the essential practices they should adopt after his passing. Therefore, Ananda, be a lamp unto yourself. Rely upon yourself alone. Do not rely upon anyone else. Let the Dhamma be your lamp. Let the Dhamma be your refuge, with no other refuge. Here, Ananda, in this life, a monk who dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardently, clearly comprehending and mindful, having subdued longing and distress within the world, who dwells contemplating feelings and feelings, who dwells contemplating mind and minds, who dwells contemplating phenomena and phenomena, ardently, clearly comprehending and mindful, having subdued longing and distress within the world. Thus, Ananda, a monk, is his own lamp, is his own refuge, without other refuge, having the Dhamma as his lamp, having the Dhamma as his refuge, with no other refuge. Those monks, Ananda, who now or after my passing will be their own lamps, will rely on themselves alone and not rely on any other, having the Dhamma as their lamp, having the Dhamma as their refuge, with no other refuge. These, Ananda, are said to be supreme among my monks, those who are eager to learn. The word Dipa can mean both lamp and island. Hence it can be translated as, be a torch unto yourself and go forth alone, or build an island unto yourself. In this unique and pivotal instruction, the Buddha emphasized two key points. Be your own lamp. Rely upon yourself, not depending upon anyone else. Take the Dhamma as your lamp. Take the Dhamma as your refuge, without depending on anything else. These principles may be seen as a true reflection of the life of seeking, practicing, and stabilizing the teachings, based on his own experiences and encompassing the entirety of the Dhamma he expounded over 45 years to guide his disciples. Chapter 1. Self-Reliance on the Path to Enlightenment. The Buddha's Journey. Indeed, we see clearly that over more than 6 years of seeking, practicing, and stabilizing the path, the Buddha himself relied on personal effort. He sought the path and asked about the path from two renowned non-Buddhist teachers of the time, Alara Kalama and Uddaka Ramapuda. He independently practiced severe austerities, meditated, and developed wisdom until he ultimately attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, becoming a fully enlightened one. He did not depend on any divine power, was not an incarnation of any deity, and was not the supreme being in any form. He was merely a person who, with the strength of human physical and mental capacities, successfully sought the path, practiced it effectively, and fully realized it, as we can clearly see in his life, if we set aside the later embellishments that sanctify his life. He sought the path and learned the path independently and expressed it as follows. It is not only Alara Kalama who has faith, I too have faith. It is not only Alara Kalama who is mindful, I too am mindful. It is not only Alara Kalama who is concentrated, I too am concentrated. It is not only Alara Kalama who has wisdom, I too have wisdom. Thus, I should strive to attain the state that Alara Kalama, after his own practice and realization, proclaimed. Then monks, not long after, I myself realized, attained and understood that Dhamma quickly, and I became serene. MN 26. After practicing austerities to no avail, He also described his own harsh practices. Because I ate so little, my limbs became like the withered twigs of a climbing plant. Because I ate so little, my buttocks became like the hooves of a camel. Because I ate so little, my backbone protruded like a string of beads. Because I ate so little, my ribs jutted out as if part of a dilapidated shed. Because I ate so little, my eyes sank deep into their sockets, looking like the glistening water deep in a well. Mn 26. Having found no result from such austerities, the Buddha firmly decided to abandon them and began to practice meditation on his own, achieving the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana, developing wisdom and realizing the divine eye, the knowledge of the extinction of contaminations, understanding as they truly are the suffering and the escape from the contaminations of desire, existence, and ignorance. For one who had thus liberated himself, he arose with the knowledge. Birth is extinguished. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming back to this state. Mn 26. Thus, from his own experience, having abandoned austerities, practicing meditation, and developing wisdom, the Buddha realized the supreme enlightenment. For the teacher who relied on self-effort to seek, learn, and realize the path, the main teaching he imparted to his disciples over 45 years of teaching was the instruction of self-reliance. Be a lamp unto yourself, rely upon yourself alone. Do not rely upon anyone else. Let the Dhamma be your lamp. Let the Dhamma be your refuge, with no other refuge. Chapter 2. The Futility of Wishes. Buddhist Teachings on True Practice. First, the Buddha affirmed that prayers and wishes are futile, not only on the path of practicing the right Dharma, but also concerning worldly desires. The Saṃyutta Nikāya, SN 42.6, clearly states, if a person commits 10 evil actions, and then a large crowd comes to pray fervently, clasping their hands, hoping that this person will be reborn in a good realm, such prayers are useless. The person who has committed 10 evil actions will fall into hell, just as if someone throws a rock into a lake and a crowd prays for the rock to float. It cannot defy sinking to the bottom, just as their prayers cannot change the outcome. Conversely, if a person abandons 10 evil actions and performs 10 good deeds, even if a large crowd prays and beseeches that this person will fall into hell, their prayers will not be fulfilled. This person will still be reborn in a good realm among humans or heavenly beings. It's like someone who submerges a barrel of oil in water and then breaks the barrel. The oil will rise to the surface. Even if a large crowd prays for the oil to sink, their prayers will inevitably fail, and the oil will still rise. The Anguttara Nikāya, and 7.71, further affirms the futility of prayer and supplication. A monk who is not diligent in practice, harboring the desire to be freed from defilements without clinging, will not see this desire fulfilled. Like a hen that has 8, 10, or 12 eggs and does not incubate them properly, even if the hen wishes for her chicks to safely break free from the eggs, her wish will not come true. Why? Because she does not incubate the eggs properly, neither keeping them warm nor nurturing them properly. In contrast, a monk who lives attentively in practice, even without the desire, may my mind be liberated from defilements, will find his mind liberated from attachments. Why? Because he has practiced. What has he practiced? He has practiced the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the 4 right exertions, the 4 bases of spiritual power, the 5 faculties, the 5 powers, the 7 factors of enlightenment, and the noble 8-fold path as diligently as the hen that properly incubates, warms, and nurtures her eggs. Even if this hen does not wish for her chicks to safely break out of the eggs, they will still emerge safely. Thus, whether there is a desire or not, the issue lies in performing the correct actions, following the right methods to achieve the desired results. Another discourse, MN 126, emphasizes the futility of praying. If one does not practice the holy life correctly, one cannot attain the desired results. Practicing the holy life incorrectly here means following wrong view, wrong thought, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, and wrong concentration. Why? Because these are not the methods to achieve the desired results. The Buddha gives an example of a person seeking oil, who pours sand into a barrel, pours water over it, and then presses the sand to extract oil. Even if the person wishes to find oil, the wish will not be fulfilled. Why? Because this is not the method to find oil. The Buddha uses another illustrative example. A person seeking milk goes to a cow and grabs its horn to milk it. Whether there is a wish or not, no milk can be obtained. Conversely, if a monk or Brahmin with right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration practices, whether there is a wish or not, practicing the holy life will achieve the desired results. Why? Because this is the method to achieve results. Like a person seeking oil who places oil seeds in a barrel, pours water over them, and presses the seeds to extract oil. Whether there is a wish or not, oil will be obtained because the correct method is known. Similarly, for seeking milk, going to a cow that has recently given birth and milking it from the udder will yield milk, whether there is a wish or not. In worldly matters too, success does not depend on wishing or praying. Being human, people often desire 5 rare pleasures in life such as longevity, beauty, happiness, a good reputation, and rebirth in heaven. In the Sutta on Welfare, N 5.43, the Buddha explicitly states that these 5 things are not obtained by wishing or praying, for if they were, no one in this world would suffer from lack when all one had to do was wish for fulfillment. The Buddha clearly says that wanting longevity cannot be achieved by praying for life or praising longevity. A holy disciple who desires longevity must practice the path leading to longevity, to beauty, to happiness, to a good reputation, to rebirth in heaven. Only then can one achieve and attain these 5 rare pleasures in life. Chapter 3. Self-Guidance in Buddhism, Understanding Karma and Action. In the definition of karma and the role of actions, the Buddha made it clear that the term karma, kama, means action, derived from the verb karoti, which means to do or act. These actions relate to the body, speech, and mind, but they must be intentional acts, actions decided upon by oneself without the provocation or command of others. Because these actions are consciously chosen, the Buddha declared that we are the owners of our actions, heirs to our actions, and we are accountable for our actions, bearing the consequences ourselves. The Dhammapada clearly states, "Evils done by oneself, self-begotten, self-bred, crush the foolish, as a diamond grinds a hard gem." DHP 161. Another verse further clarifies, "By oneself, the evil is done. By oneself, one is defiled. By oneself, evil is not done. By oneself, one is purified." Purity and impurity depend on oneself. No one can purify another. DHP 165. By oneself alone is oneself criticized. By oneself alone is oneself examined. The sage is guarded by self-control. Mindfully, he finds joy. DHP 379. In a very famous discourse, the Kalama Sutta, and 3.65, the Buddha advised his disciples to trust themselves and not others, to rely on their own judgment of right and wrong rather than any other method. O Calamus, do not believe merely because you have heard it. Do not believe merely because it is traditional. Do not believe because others speak of it. Do not believe just because the scriptures are recited. Do not believe on the grounds of logical reasoning. Do not believe by inference or by considering appearances. Do not believe out of bias or habit. Do not believe because it seems plausible or because your teacher tells you it is so. But Calamus, when you yourselves know, these things are unwholesome, these things are blameworthy, these things are criticized by the wise, these things, if undertaken and practiced, lead to harm and suffering, then you should abandon them. But Calamus, when you yourselves know, these things are wholesome, these things are blameless, these things are praised by the wise, these things, if undertaken and practiced, lead to welfare and happiness, then you should engage in and abide by them. Once you are aware of your ability to discern good from evil, the Buddha taught that you should guide yourself, not depending on anyone else, as the following verses clearly state. A sage who leans on none, depending on no one, who does not engage in love or hatred, remains unaffected by sorrow, greed, or stinginess, like water on a lotus leaf, remains unsoiled. Simpi 811. One who does not seek the core, in any of the conditioned phenomena, can conquer craving, free from clinging. Such a monk does not depend, allows no one to lead him. This true sage wanders alone in the world. SNP 364. Yet the Buddha was cautious. Although he was enlightened and liberated, with no one more enlightened or liberated than him, he still saw the need to lean on a monk or Brahmin. Therefore, I pay homage, with respect, and live depending on a monk or Brahmin to fulfill the discipline, concentration, wisdom, liberation that are not yet fulfilled. But I see no place in the world of gods, Mara or Brahma, among the community of monks or Brahmins, gods and men, where there is a monk or Brahmin more complete in discipline, in concentration, in wisdom, and in liberation than myself, to whom I could show respect, pay homage, and live depending on. Thus, monks, I reflected as follows. With the Dhamma that I have truly realized, I will pay homage, show respect, and live depending on that very Dhamma. SN 6.2. Chapter 4. Steadfast in Dharma, the Buddha's legacy of self-reliance. Thus, the Buddha, with a humble mindset, sought a monk or Brahmin to rely upon for guidance, but ultimately he had to rely on the right Dharma itself. This is why the Buddha instructed the monks, "Be a lamp unto yourselves, depend on nothing else. Use the right Dharma as your refuge, rely on nothing else." This attitude of the Buddha explains why he advised Venerable Ananda not to grieve after the Buddha's passing, as the disciples always have the right Dharma as their refuge. In the Saṃyutta Nikāya, SN 22.43, the Buddha reiterated his advice for his disciples to take the right Dharma as their island, their place of refuge. Live, making yourselves your own island, your own refuge. Do not take any other refuge. Take the Dharma as your island, take the Dharma as your refuge, and no other. In the Gopaka Moggallana Sutta, MN 108, we see that the Buddha's disciples, after his passing, acted precisely as he instructed. The Brahmin Gopaka Moggallana asked Venerable Ananda, "Venerable Sir, did the ascetic Gautama appoint any monk saying,
This one, after my passing, will be your refuge, and you shall depend on him."
Venerable Ananda replied, "No, Brahmin, there is no monk whom the thus gone one, the wise one, the seer, the arahant, the fully enlightened one appointed, saying, 'After my passing, this one will be your refuge, and we shall depend on him.' Brahmin, is there a monk whom the Sangha agrees and a majority of the elder monks have appointed, saying, 'This one, after the thus gone one's passing, will be our refuge, and we shall depend on him?" Venerable Ananda responded, "No, Brahmin, there is no monk whom the Sangha agrees and whom the majority of the elder monks have appointed, saying, 'After the thus gone one's passing, this one will be our refuge, and we shall depend on him.' And so, you have no refuge. Venerable Ananda, on what then do you depend for harmony?" Brahmin, we are not without a refuge. Brahmin, we have a refuge. That is the Dharma, which is our refuge.